Hey guys, it's Areesa. Welcome back to my channel. Today we are making 3 absolutely delicious chocolate truffles. So these truffles are definitely holiday inspired because it is the season, but they can be enjoyed any time of year. So the first thing we need to do is make a ganache base that we're going to use for all 3 truffles. So if you've been watching my channel for a while, you should be a pro at making ganache by now. We're just going to take some chocolate and chop it up. The higher quality the better because you're really going to taste the chocolate in this recipe. For this ganache, we're going to do 2 parts chocolate to 1 part whipping cream. So I have 14 ounces of chocolate, a mixture of milk and dark. I'm going to take 7 ounces of whipping cream, bring that up to a simmer on the stove, and then pour that over my chocolate. You're gonna let that sit for just a minute and give it a stir, and we have some chocolate ganache. And then I'm just going to divide that up into 3 containers to make 3 truffles. So the first truffle we're going to make is a hot chocolate truffle, and we're going to fill that with a homemade marshmallow fluff, which is so much better than store-bought, trust me. So for the fluff, you want to start by wiping down the inside of a mixing bowl and whisk with some white vinegar. This may seem a little strange, but it's going to make sure that there's absolutely no grease in the bowl so the egg whites whip to a nice full volume. Then I'm going to add 2 egg whites to my bowl, and then in a small pot, I'm going to take half a cup of sugar, and you want to reserve a tablespoon of that for later, and half a cup of corn syrup and 2 tablespoons of water. Mix it together and put it on the stove. So I'm adding half a teaspoon of cream of tartar and just a pinch of salt. And I know this is moving pretty quickly, so I'm going to put all of the measurements in the description below. And then once our egg whites are a little bit foamy, we're going to start slowly adding in that reserved 1 tablespoon of sugar and just let that whip up to a soft peak. By that time, hopefully our sugar is right up to 245 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we can pour that into the bowl very, very carefully and very slowly with the mixer running at a slow speed. And then we're just going to let that whip for about 5 to 7 minutes until it's nice and fluffy. And then I'm going to add a splash of vanilla extract, and that's pretty much it. And look at that beautiful, soft, fluffy texture. It is nothing like store-bought. Okay, so now let's take our ganache and our marshmallow fluff and put them together. So I let that ganache that we made earlier set up in the fridge. I'm using a little cookie scoop just to keep them all even, and then rolling them into little balls. Then I'm taking the back of a wooden spoon and just gently pressing down into it. Make sure you don't go all the way to the bottom, and that will create a little pocket for our marshmallow fluff. So then we're going to go ahead and pipe the marshmallow fluff right into the truffles. Leave a little bit of room on top because we're going to top it off with some melted down chocolate ganache to seal everything in. And then we're just going to let those set up in the fridge for another 20 minutes or so. Okay, now let's make a hot chocolate mixture to roll the truffles in because this is a hot chocolate truffle. So I'm using 2 parts cocoa powder to 1 part icing sugar. I'm using Dutch processed cocoa powder here. If you have it, I would recommend it for this. And then I'm going to re-roll the little balls so that they're perfectly round and drop them right into the hot chocolate mixture. Then just roll them around so they're nice and evenly coated, and we have beautiful hot chocolate truffles. And look at that delicious marshmallow center inside. And now let's move on to the second truffle. This one's a little bit more sophisticated. We're gonna do a caramel espresso swirl. So I'm starting with about a tablespoon of whipping cream, and I warmed that up in the microwave, and then I'm gonna add a teaspoon of a good quality instant espresso powder. You wanna do this right after you make the ganache. Don't let it set up until after we finish this part. And then I'm taking some caramel and just drizzling that in. I already showed you guys how to make this, so I will leave that video on the screen here as well as in the description below. Just leave out the salt from that recipe because that one is a salted caramel. And then once that has set up in the fridge for a little bit, we're going to once again just roll these into little balls. And now we're gonna get a little fancy. We're going to coat these in chocolate and then add a drizzle on top. We're actually gonna start with some white chocolate and add just a few pieces of dark, and that's gonna give us kind of like a coffee latte color. And then we're gonna go ahead and dip our truffles into the white chocolate mixture and then set them on some parchment paper. Make sure your truffles are nice and cold at this point so that they don't start to melt into the chocolate. And then I'm going in with some dark chocolate and adding a little drizzle. You can just have fun with this part. Do whatever looks good to you. And we have some beautiful caramel espresso chocolate truffles. And last but not least, we're going to make some toasted coconut truffles that look like little snowballs. So I'm taking some sweetened shredded coconut and we're going to toast that in the oven at 325. You want to check on it every 3 to 5 minutes and give it a stir. It should not take very long to get to this beautiful golden color. And then we're gonna go ahead and add a few spoonfuls into our chocolate ganache. Once again, this ganache has not set up yet, so it'll mix in nicely. And then once it does get a chance to chill in the fridge, we can roll them into little balls. And you can see all of that beautiful toasted coconut in there. And now we're going to take these truffles and coat them in chocolate and coconut so they look like little snowballs. So I'm starting with some white chocolate. So we're going to take our truffles, dip them into the white chocolate, and then go straight into the coconut. And we're going to cover them up completely. And within a couple minutes, the chocolate will set, and then you can go ahead and move it onto some parchment paper. And there we have our final toasted coconut truffle. So there we have our 3 beautiful and delicious chocolate truffles. Side note, you want to store these in the fridge and they should last about a week in there. Yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. If you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions or what you want to see next. Also, let me know which one was your favorite and which one you are going to try because I love to read about that. And I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye, guys.